Good evening. Welcome to LoveLogical, DNA Not Required. This is Michelle L. Anderson coming to you live from Podcast Detroit, Royal Oak Studios. We are looking forward to intriguing and entertaining you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let me start today's show by saying thank you for joining our family, which is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA Not Required. Well, hello, everyone. This is the great and wonderful Michelle Anderson, and I am coming to you today live, as we said, with the great and wonderful Beverly Thomas. Beverly has a wonderful ministry. She is a marriage coach. She is a romance travel specialist, and she is very much so true to who she is. She lives the life that she coaches, and she became a coach based on experience, on her own life experience. So we're going to talk about this as a continuation of our October Date Your Mate month. Because all month we've been talking about the importance of the household, the LoveLogical household, to have a happy head of the household. I'm going to say heads of the household, because we have to know how to love each other in order for our children to learn how to love. You know, you have to be husband and wife first in order for the children to learn how to grow into relationships of their own, but also for the children to have that mutual respect for both of you. They have to see you love and respect each other. And that's something that I gained from my parents, because my parents took care of each other and then they took care of us. So that's very important. What do you think about that, Beverly?
I think that is wonderful. That is wonderful. And let me say good evening to everyone this evening.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad to be here with Michelle and LoveLogical DNA Not Required, which when I first heard of that business, it really touched my heart, because it says that there are more of us out there that has the same mindset, the same heart in wanting families to connect and to grow with one another. So with LoveLogical, it is so important to identify who we are, know who we are within ourselves, so that we can play an important and intricate part within our own families, so that we stand out and do our part for showing our love and growing up. Yes.
Yes. You know, and it's very important. It's so important for husbands and wives to date each other.
Yes.
You know, to spend the time having fun and loving each other. And last week we spent an entire hour talking about dating ideas. You know, different
Yes.
things that you could do, you know, with your mate, with your spouse and with your mate, because we were talking about getting away from the redundancy of just dinner and a movie. You know,
Right.
how Netflix and chill is not something that we're speaking of. That's something that should be just incorporated on a regular basis. I'm talking about getting out of the house and having fun together.
Right.
And when I heard about what Beverly is doing, I was like, you know, I wish that you would have been around when I was married, because that's something that I think that a lot of men need, is that guidance to help them. But a lot of women also need that guidance to learn how to be women,
Right.
you know, in a relationship.
Right. And we all come with our own issues to the marriage table. You know, it's funny how we can start out and see so many similarities in our relationship, but then when we get married or that relationship goes deeper, then we start to see some things that are a disjoint, and then we're trying to figure out how to make it work. And it is so important to be authentic right from
It
the
is.
start.
It
Be
is.
who you are so that later on down the road, you're not starting to show up,
Yes.
for what your mate thought you were. So it's so important to be authentic in who you are. We all have our issues, but they are those issues that we can talk about, that we can overcome, because we're going to have those obstacles. That goes along with the relationship.
One
Yeah.
of the things that I find is a good fun date is when you can communicate and laugh at the same time.
Very important for a fun date, because
Yes.
and so many times we have to get back to the beginning when you first started dating. What was it that drew you together that was fun? You have to start, say, remember when. That's what I
Yes.
call it.
Yes.
So that we can step back and do some of those little funny, childish things that made us laugh. That's
Yes.
so important, to laugh in your relationship.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
said that, the funny, childish things, because I
Yeah.
was just thinking no matter how old you get,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have to get so serious with life where you have to stop being silly and enjoying each other. That's why last week when we were talking about go-kart riding, or we were
Absolutely.
talking about going to the arcade, things like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I had a date to the arcade back a few months ago,
Okay.
and found that they have this big wall, which is like a mega Pac-Man,
Okay.
and
Okay.
multiple people could play, so you're like playing against each other with this Pac-Man. To me, that was one of the best dates.
Exactly.
It was so much
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. And that's it. It is learning to step out of your comfort zone for where you've grown to as adults, and step back a little bit and enjoy one another.
Yes.
Really embrace that fun side of you, because we all have it.
Yes.
It's just a matter of picking it back up. As we grow, we get get much more settled in. And we lose that, and that's the part that made our relationship what it was.
Yes.
That piece of that spice, what I call
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference in your relationship, and you don't want to lose it. I say that if you start to lose it, then your marriage starts getting a little bored or something, it's time to start doing something different.
Yes.
It's time to start, and it doesn't make any difference which one it is. It's time to start doing something different, so that you don't continue to stay in that frame of mind of being bored and nothing to do, and not be happy with the relationship.
And you can look at each other and tell when it gets to a point to where you're
Absolutely.
there. So somebody has to make the first step, and it doesn't matter who it is, as long
No.
as someone steps forward and say, hey, put the calendar aside, get your calendar, put your meetings aside for Saturday or Friday night or whatever, and let's get a babysitter and let's go do something. Let's go do something that is very fun.
Exactly.
You know?
And in today's world, it's even easier to do that date, because we all have those smartphones. And to put that on your calendar to remind you of when that date is coming up, what you're going to do, and you always want to calculate in your preparation time.
Yes.
So that you will be on time for your date, so that your mate does not get a little frustrated because you're not on time. Because the littlest things will throw us off.
Yes.
And we'll just stop it. And we have to be purposeful in every step in what we do in making that relationship solid, making it good, making it happy. So it takes time. It's just like work. You put it on your calendar, you put it on your phone or whatever to be on time. Put it on your phone. Be on time. Show up with a positive attitude when it's time for your date. You just want to let your mate know that you're glad to be there.
You appreciate them.
Exactly.
Yes.
You
Yes.
appreciate them. Yeah. So it's so important. And when you come, come with an attitude of appreciation. A
Yes.
thank you. I thank you for doing that. That was nice of you.
Mm-hmm.
We have to show that we are into our relationship, that it's not just a haphazard thing that's going on. It's important.
We're in it to win it.
We're in it to win it. It is important
Yes.
because so many barriers can just come before us and we get off track.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to set our minds that this is something we want and we have to put the time into it.
Yes, because we spend so
Yeah.
much time worrying about our kids and getting
Oh.
our kids from here to there, left, right, back,
Yes.
forwards, and everything else, to where we have to take the time to put our spouse, our mates first. You have to find that, you have to put that time aside, because if you're focusing so much on the kids, you're not focusing on your marriage. You're not focusing on your relationship. And you're letting that go because you're putting so much focus on the kids that you
Right.
forget about each other. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this month, because it was Sweetest Day. I didn't want to wait till February because I want people to know that it's important to think about each other.
It is very important, and that is a biggie within my way of thinking, the way I run my business, is that we must get back to the order of things. It is the husband that is first, the man that is first. It is then the children. I'm sorry, the
Yes.
wife, or the female, and then the children. Of course, our children are important, but our relationship is to be even more important, which means that we've got to step up to the plate. We've got to step up to the plate. Yes, keep the children in order as they need to be, but when your relationship is out of order, your children are seeing that. And we think that, oh, yeah, they'll be okay. Sure, they'll be okay. But what more can you give them when they see that mom and dad is having a good relationship?
That's true.
When the things are in order. So it's so important. I believe that it's time to change the language, time to get things back in order so that when you lay down at night, you will have that peace. You will have that peace. And it's not because of your mate, it's because of you stepping up and doing what you're supposed to do in the relationship.
You're going to have that romance, too.
Absolutely. More of it, too.
You're going to have more of that romance,
Absolutely.
because if you're stepping up and you're respecting
Absolutely.
and loving and having fun and enjoying each other,
Exactly.
and you're putting each other where you need to be,
Yes.
then you're going to have more of that fun, more of that romance.
Exactly. And that's what you want. That's what keeps a happy marriage. That when you've got more romance involved in your marriage, that really helps to keep those dysfunctional things out of the way.
And that's both ways. Romance both ways.
Absolutely.
It's not just up to the man
Not
to
at all.
romance the woman. The woman should be romancing her man too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you should be comfortable enough to have the conversation of what you like and what he likes.
Yes.
Both. If you haven't gotten to that point, it's time to take a break and get to that point.
Take a class.
Get
Get a certified marriage coach.
Let's talk.
Yes.
You have to get to that point where you're comfortable, no inhibitions. You let it all out there because you're talking about being with someone for the rest of your life. So you should know each other thoroughly. Yes, you're going to continue to grow in your own ways, but that's what date nights are about. That is putting your relationship in a place that you are concerned. You want to grow together in the relationship while you're still growing separately. That's what I call quality time. Quality time together is so important. Your marriage cannot grow. You know, we have found that couples that spend quality time on a regular basis, they tend to have a more successful marriage, a relationship. Absolutely, because they're bonding on a regular basis. When you lose that, you're falling apart. That's the beginning of division. You're not taking time to keep that closeness. And if you're not taking time to keep that closeness, then everything else starts to get in the way and you get comfortable with it. You get comfortable with it. You
With the
don't want
gaps
to
and the
get
barriers.
comfortable
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah,
with
yes.
division in your relationship because you came together for that oneness, that union. So you have to work on making sure that that oneness remains. It's up to you. It's your job. It's his job. It's her job.
Right. It goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Exactly.
And I'm going to tell you another thing that you do. Beverly has another business, and it's eternal
passion
travel. Okay, so eternal passion travel
Right.
that she
right.
has, and what she's doing is she's setting up these romantic trips
Right.
for husbands and wives.
Right.
And can those who are not married go on these trips too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
because-
So for relationships to be able to get that passion back,
Exactly.
as I said last week, to get out your own bed.
Exactly. Absolutely. That is so important. And in doing that, that means you leave the children at home. You also leave the job at home.
Yes.
It's not a romantic trip when you say that my job is taking me on this trip and my spouse is going to go with me. No, yes, everybody might seem to be okay, but hindsight, you're not giving your relationship quality time.
And it's not a romantic trip when you have to take your kids with you.
Not at all.
I'm speaking kids from the age of newborn to 20, 26, 27, 30 years old. You know, if
Exactly.
your kids are in the room with you, that takes away any type of romance whatsoever. And that's, to me, excuse me for putting it like this, Beverly, back in the day, we called that cock blocking.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
only an excuse not to have passion in your marriage and not to have that
Yeah.
physical relationship.
Yeah.
Because you should be able to take a trip, just the two of you together, and if you do that and your kids get used to it, they may not like it that you're going somewhere that they've never been, but like my mother explained to me, explain to them that it's important for you to be able to have that alone time together as husband and wife, so the two of you can love on each other uninterrupted.
Exactly. You're teaching them, train up in a child in the
Yes.
way that they should go. You're teaching them because these days our children are not being taught those type of values anymore. So they think that it's okay. The children will come with their attitude because they want to go, they want to be part of. But we have to step back and start really teaching our children the ways, the values of relationship, the values of marriage, what it is about, so that when they get to that point, they'll have some understanding.
Yes.
See, that's a great thing that you learn that in your household. Everybody doesn't get that, which means that some people have to be a little bit more purposeful in their decision making with their children versus their spouse.
Because, see, I grew up in a house, everybody's not equal.
Not at all.
Everybody's
not
equal.
Not at all.
There's no child to me that's equal or have an equal say in a household.
Exactly. Not at all. Not at all. We are each our own, and it is a matter of keeping things in the right order. Dad, mom, children. that's the way it goes.
And then the
That's the way
dog.
it goes.
Don't forget the
And
dog.
okay, and the dog. I don't have a dog. I'm not a dog person, but and
Or
then
cat.
the dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
You
make
could
sure
get-
you put them in the
gotta
right
have that
order. You're right.
Yeah, because you got people that even put their pets ahead
They
of their
do.
spouses.
They do.
And
They
you can't
do.
do that. You
They
can't
do.
put your pet ahead of your spouse. And
Right.
if you're doing that, you really need a certified marriage counselor
Right.
or a relationship counselor who's going to help you get back to where you need to be. But Beverly, tell us about the Eternal Passion Travels.
Yes.
Some of the trips that you've done in the past.
Well, Eternal Passion Travel, it is about renewing, refreshing, rekindling your marriage, your relationship, so that you can continue with that oneness. Couples these days, they love the Caribbean. They love the Caribbean for the all-inclusives. They love it for the sunshine all year round. But also, people are loving Greece. They're loving Spain. They're loving Italy because it's a different type of romance for them. They're not just necessarily looking for the sunshine, but the culture,
Oh, yes.
the cuisine, and all of that makes for a romantic trip.
Yes.
You sit there and you
Yes.
can feed one another the local breads and things, or just take a look at the museums and the different places and things. It gives you a different outlook on life.
The walking
Yeah,
together, the holding
absolutely.
hands, the different things that you can do. When you said Greece,
Yes.
and I'm thinking of the Parthenon and things like
Yes,
that.
yes,
Italy
yes.
with the gondola rides, and Paris with the
The
Eiffel Tower, the
yeah,
Louvre,
yes,
and
exactly,
so there's so much that
exactly.
you can do.
There's so much, and just walking around is such another element of romance. That's what makes you want to stay.
But you can get that in Chicago.
Absolutely,
Just
can.
a weekend away in Chicago. You could do a weekend in Vegas. You could do it. There's so many places that you can go here in the United States too, and be
Yeah.
able to get that. You can get it going right downtown and getting a hotel for the weekend.
Absolutely.
Do couples
Absolutely.
massage together.
Absolutely.
There's just so much. There's so many ways that you can get this romance, but
So
your
many.
your trips allows for planning to where they can plan it out over time.
Oh yeah. As far as making payments over time and
Yes.
everything, absolutely. Because we are headed to the Caribbean
Okay.
for a marriage enrichment cruise.
Okay.
Next year.
Okay.
So that's time to pay on it. And even though it's 4 nights and it's the Bahamas, and I say to people, don't focus so much on the destination, because it's the journey of the marriage or of the relationship that's taking place. So because wherever you go, you're taking, or you should be taking, the best of you. That kindness, that
Yes.
love, that
Yes.
gentleness, that meekness, that's going to make the trip that much more enjoyable, because you're both bringing your best to the table.
I know you. I hear you say that it's a cruise.
Yes,
To
yes.
the Bahamas.
Yes.
And I mean, there's so much romance that you can have
Oh,
on the
yes.
boat within
Oh,
itself.
yes. Oh,
you know,
yes. Oh, yes.
and I have to say, I love like the piano bar on the
Oh,
boat.
So do I. I love
And
the piano
yes,
bar.
and the
Yes.
shows,
Yes.
and then the karaoke. That's
Yes.
fun. There's so
It
much
is.
that you can do.
And as well as just sitting out. I love the balconies.
Yes.
Just sitting out and enjoying the freedom of just relaxing.
Just being.
Relaxation, just being you and your mate, just the two of us. It's almost like being in your own world. It is that uplifting.
It is.
Yeah, and
It
and
is.
for that not to bring some joy and peace and contentment in you, then I have to say, what's wrong?
Right.
What's wrong? Because that should be something to release the senses, that is going to give you a calmness. It should, but you have to come with that right attitude with it. It's so important. We get so in a place of just stalemate within our own four walls and can't see beyond them, no further than just going to the job, that we miss so much beauty in life. Like you say, it doesn't make any difference where you are. You can go on a simple picnic and have an awesome time and feel like you've been on a trip for days because of what you bring to the table.
That's true. I mean, just to go somewhere and sit down on a bench, with your feet across each other and rubbing the feet or whatever, that's romance time.
Exactly.
Or even just getting a babysitter sometimes and just doing the romantic dinner at home.
Exactly.
And just it's about thinking about and sharing each other.
It is, and this being Date Your Mate Month.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to say, I'm putting it out there. I challenge each and every one of you that are listening, do something different this month. Do something that you haven't done before. Do something that you've thought about, you were wanting to do, but you were a little shy about doing it. Step on out there. Step on out there, because the thing is, it's going to end up being turning out the way you want it to, or it's not, which is going to give you another opportunity to try it again.
Try something else.
Or try something else.
Or try
exactly.
something else.
Now, you know what? When it comes to marriage, there are no rules. There are no rules, so you should be in a place to let everything go, because your oneness will dictate what the outcome will be.
I love it.
Absolutely, it will. It will. Oneness it's solid. That should be solid in your relationship, so that nothing else is going to hinder what you're attempting to do. That's really part of the fun of marriage, And then too, like I say, if it doesn't work out quite right, then a few months down the road, it has given you something else to laugh about when you bring it back up.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
You have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Absolutely.
You do. You have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's so much, there's tension in relationships that don't have the opportunity to have this time that we're speaking of, the dates, where the spouse or the mate is showing the other how much they're appreciated, the love that needs to be shown between the two, to bring forth that passion.
Exactly.
It makes a difference.
Exactly.
I know we were talking on the phone, I was telling you about the book The Love Dear.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had a chance.
No,
Did you?
I've ordered it.
Yes,
It's on the
yes,
way.
yes. I have a group of friends who lived in the city that I lived in at one point in time, and we would have our ladies' dinners. We'd get together. We get together for birthdays and once a month. And at these dinners, we would we would have good, healthy conversations at the dinner. And one of the women was having problems with her relationship, and someone suggested the Love Dear because her and her husband had been having problems in their relationship, and the Love Dear was brought up to them, and the Love Dear actually helped their relationship get back to that romantic point.
And that's awesome.
And the other women in the group tried it in their relationships as well. And even with my friend who is in a same-sex marriage, they tried it as well. And it made a huge difference in their relationship. So since then, I have referred the Love Dear to several people, And I'm also one to where if I hear, like my friend Kevin Essett in Indianapolis, he just put out that he's having a pop-up dinner at a Airbnb. It's something that's normally romantic, things like that. I share stuff like that because you want to know what someone is doing that could be that nice romantic moment for you.
And that's so important that you find what will work for you, because when you're in a relationship, there's going to be issues. It simply comes along with it. And you can't just sit there and think that you're the only one that's having those kind of issues. And that's why we're out here for you, so that you'll have someone to reach out to,
Mm-hmm.
or hear the stories, you know, because we're in this together. We really are. We're in this together. We should be helping one another to overcome these obstacles. And I'm talking about obstacles that are so simple that you would think that it was nothing, but it's huge.
It's
You know,
huge.
no more than just the way things are said.
Mm-hmm.
No more than the type of attitude that comes along with a word that was said that you took it a wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
We all fall into that
Mm-hmm.
because of possibly what has taken place throughout the day, what has taken place in our past that we can't let go. So there are so many tools out there that can give us a relief, I'll say, a relief, a releasing to let go
Mm-hmm.
and and start showing up the best of ourselves. Because when we're having those issues in our marriage and one is holding on to something, they can't bring their best to the relationship. So they're going to have to find ways to let go, overcome those obstacles. Not to say that any of them are not real, they are real, but we have to learn to start overcoming those obstacles. That actually is one of the, I should say, the main reason that I do my workshops at the Pontiac Public Library every first Saturday of the month. We're talking about 7 steps to a better marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about obstacles, of what those obstacles are, and then we're talking about some strategies to overcome, to watch out for, so that we can start growing in our marriage. It's so easy to get stuck. It's so easy to fall in a place of uncontentment.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy. But when we learn to start overcoming these obstacles, and I have to say, you know, I had to learn that. I am twice married to my husband.
I was going to bring that up.
Yes,
Tell them
ma'am.
how you ended up
Oh,
getting where you are right now.
this is what my two as one forever is about. It really, all I can say is keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, keep your heart open, because when you have your own agenda in life and you think you're headed one way, and you suddenly find that that is not the route that you should be taking, you have to stop and pay attention. I was actually, it was really pretty amazing for me. But my husband and I, we were divorced for a number of years. And there was no talk of even dating or getting back together or anything, nothing like that. So when he approached me about going to, I think it was the movies or something like that, the first time, I immediately said no, because
Mm-hmm.
it was like, where is this coming from? I'm thinking he's over at the house to see our second son.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say anywhere from 2 weeks to a month later, he comes over again, and he's sharing with me about taking someone to a play or something, you know. And the darnest thing, it was an unbelievable jealousy that rose up in me. And I was standing in my kitchen, and that's when I heard the Lord say to me, "That's your husband."
Mm-hmm.
And my obedience to the Lord had to be greater than what was going on with the flesh. So I said, "Yes, Lord."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Lord. That was 21 years ago, coming up on 22 years ago. That is what has brought me to two is one forever. Because in my life, it told me that I don't care what we do here on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
that does not nullify what God does.
All right.
Not at all. Not at all. And I know that He will meet us right where we are. So there's no difference because, our God is no respecter of person.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no difference in us in the choices that we've made because we have all fallen short. We will all continue to fall short because we are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say that at this time in my life, I can lay down and I have total peace. I have total peace, and it's not because of, okay, yeah, I'll give my husband a little credit with it. Okay, but I have total peace with my walk in life now. So it's really been that journey that I just embrace. I love being able to work with couples, whether it's him or whether it's her, because it is a self growth. I had to put myself in a position to say, Lord, fix me,
Mm-hmm.
fix me, fix me. Because as a matter of fact, a few years back into the marriage, divorce came up again.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take that position and say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not signing anything. But that also meant that I had to seek Him for myself to grow. And I'm one that I grew up in the church.
Okay.
I was active in the church.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that I didn't have the Lord in my life. What I found is I wasn't putting Him first. And that's where we have to get back to the order. It's the Lord, it's the husband, it's the wife, it's the children, it's the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It and you, because we go through this life and we can become so caught up with life issues
Mm-hmm.
and get so stressed and be in such a discontentment that we don't know what to do. And people are making choices in their lives that are detrimental these days, that because they don't know how to endure. And
Yes.
that's hurtful.
See,
That's
and
hurtful.
you see relationships now that have become almost disposable.
Yes.
It's almost
yes.
like a tissue. You take it, you use it, you throw it away, and that's not what a relationship is truly supposed to be.
Not at all.
And you see kids, they have their hashtag goals that they use when they see certain relationships. And when you look at the relationships that they're saying goals to, it's almost scary.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Cardi B and her husband,
Yes.
and different
Yeah.
things. And it's like,
Yeah.
my relationship goals,
Yeah.
is looking at that couple that has made it through the storm and they continue to be there for each other and not like just totally disrespecting each other on a regular basis.
Well, along with that, though, because of that oneness,
Mm-hmm.
that means that the two people in it, they are unique in their own way.
Relationship, yes.
That oneness is unique.
Mm-hmm.
And they must find within that relationship, within that oneness, what works for them. Because you don't know what another couple has gone through
Behind
to
the
get
scenes.
to
Yes.
where they are, to get to where all you see is smiles with
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yes.
And then it could be a smile for that moment. You don't know what's going on. That's where I can say that I have total peace because I've gotten the order correct. The Lord is my guide.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten the order correct so that no matter what trials and tribulations come, because they're going to continue to come,
Mm-hmm.
I know how to overcome them. I know how to get over that obstacle. Yes, it may hold me up for a few moments
Mm-hmm.
because we're human,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean it's going to last for the week. It's not going to last for the month. It's not going to put me in a place anymore where I don't want to talk anymore. It might be a few minutes and we're over it. It's
Mm-hmm.
done with. You deal with it, you keep going. But that is the uniqueness of those two people. That's what I love about relationships. There are
That's
no
true.
two people alike,
There's no two relationships
and there's
alike.
no two
I
relationships
like
alike.
it. Yes.
Not at all. Therefore, that oneness, and however it is formed, it is a true oneness of those two involved. You have to stop thinking that you can go from relationship to relationship to relationship and it's going to get better. What you have to remember is who's in each one of those relationships.
You're the common denominator
You're the common
in each
denominator.
one. So you have to
Have to
figure out
stop.
what it is that you're doing
Exactly.
to cause,
Exactly. Exactly.
cause adversity within your
Exactly.
relationships.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's not anything that's going to happen overnight, or you get a grip on it overnight in the marriage, or the relationship is going to be all that the next day. It didn't take overnight for it to get that way, so it's not going to take over. It's going to take more than just overnight to get it fixed.
For it to get back where
Yes.
it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
and the respect
Yeah.
and everything does come
Oh.
in, but I think that people tend to get so engrossed with life issues, with like I said, with the kids and with work and with everything else, that you do have a tendency to forget about your mate.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out here that don't know how to have a relationship because they've not a healthy relationship because they've not experienced or witnessed a healthy relationship,
Right.
which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to do the Date Your Mate month,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
to remind people to not just have a healthy relationship, a loving relationship, a passionate relationship, a fun relationship, and everything with your spouse / mate, but also it's for your children.
Yes.
It's
yes.
for your children.
It's a great feeling to pretty much daily be in a state of contentment.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's not heard of too much, but it is a place that you can be. We must get the order right. It is the husband, then the wife. And as much as we, want to do our own thing, I have found that when it's just like getting a call, a sales call,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say I'll have to check with my husband. That's the best feeling in the world, to be able to say, let me put it on somebody else. Let me give it to them, because that gives me a sense of comfort. And I have recognized also, when my spouse decides that we're going to do something a certain way, it's not to beat him up if it doesn't turn out that way. It is to turn around and say, okay, babe, that didn't work out quite right. What are we going to do next? You have to continue to support your spouse. There's no beating up, because when you get to that point that you're thinking that everything is supposed to be perfect, what is that scripture? Ye who without sin cast the first stone. We will never be in that place.
No.
So therefore, don't put your spouse in that space where they will feel like they don't want to do something because they know what kind of repercussions are going to come behind
Don't
it.
emasculate them
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
I know a lot of
Exactly.
women now have a tendency to emasculate because they say, I don't need you.
Yeah. Oh,
But
wow.
and most
Yeah.
men want to feel needed,
Absolutely.
and
We
women
all
have
do.
a tendency
We all
to
do.
want to feel wanted. That's how I was.
We all do. Well,
and that's something. Yes,
We were designed that way.
yes, and
we were-
you have to
yeah.
you have to allow
Yeah.
that to happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
We all have emotions.
Mhm.
We all want to be loved. That's just human nature. We all want to feel that we're in a place of comfort, that we get from our spouse, from our mate. We want that sense of comfort so that we can lay down and be at peace. That's what that's all about. It's so easy to have attitude, to come with sarcasm. All of that is a cover up. for you suppressing who you really are, or for those issues that you have. It's all a cover up. So it's like it's time to let those things go. It's time to start showing who you are so that your spouse, your mate, can truly understand who you are.
And what's going on inside of you, and learn to
Exactly.
enjoy
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Well, first is support. Like I
Yes.
said, learn to support you,
Absolutely.
and then get
Yeah.
to the point of enjoyment again.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
that's where I always say that you have to put each other first, because if you're putting if you're not working on the two of you, and all you're working on is the kids, you have a tendency to lose each other.
You're out of order. You're
You
totally
lose
out
each
of
other
order.
so much.
Yeah, you total because you know what, I'm sure that everything with the kids and in the ball games, the ballet, everything that the child is doing, you've got it on your calendars to make sure that you get them there on time. You've calculated in driving time and all of that. Why aren't you doing the same thing with your spouse? Everybody is busy.
Yes.
Everybody is busy, and you have to be purposeful to have a better marriage, a better relationship. It does not go without purpose and getting it right. It just goes along with it. It has to be an intention there in that
There's place on
relationship.
it could be as simple as writing a love note to each other.
Absolutely.
Getting a card. Just it's little things that keep things going.
Absolutely. Send a note on the text them throughout the day. Say something corny. Say something that's going to get them excited. Just give them a reason for coming home.
That's why they say foreplay starts in the morning when you get up.
Absolutely.
To get to where it's truly played when you get home.
And I tell you, it works. And it works. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
And it gives you a different level of appreciation in life when you are purposely engaged with the one that you say you love.
It makes a difference.
It
because
makes a huge difference.
Because
Yeah.
people who feel loved, they radiate love.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And and it
Yeah.
also says that a man is to love his wife as a wife is to
Submit to their husbands.
No, respect your husband.
Okay.
Respect. Yeah.
Which translation?
Yeah, to
Okay.
respect her husband, because
Okay.
when a man loves, he loves hard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when a woman is being loved and she's given that respect, to me it's a given that she's going to love with everything within her.
Absolutely.
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 And for a man to truly love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that gets back to dating one another, putting quality time in with one another, showing each other that you want to be with them. That is the psyche is something to deal with. The subconscious mind will tell us no, they don't want to be bothered.
Yes.
And that's because you're not taking that effort to give a better of yourself. You have to, so many people think of looking at marriage and relationships as I gave my 50, they've got to give their 50. If you're not bringing your 100, then you're falling short.
Each of you need to bring your 100. Yes.
You're falling
Yes.
short.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And you
Yes.
cannot, and if you're bringing your 100, you cannot take time and energy to waste on your spouse not bringing theirs. You continue to bring yours, and you'll be amazed how it will spill over onto your spouse. They'll automatically click in without them even realizing what they're doing.
Love
It's an
it.
automatic thing. Yes, it's just human nature. So bring your 100 to the table and stop worrying about what your spouse is or is not doing. Give your all, give your best, and you'll find yourself in a successful relationship.
Because it'll answer a lot of questions.
It'll
for you,
answer a
too.
lot of questions.
I
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
How do people
yeah.
get a hold of you, Beverly?
Well, on my website, twoasoneforever.com, there's a Let's Talk. You can set up some time there, and we can talk. My Email address is info at two as one forever
So
dot
we're
com.
looking at the number 2
The number
and the
two
number 1.
and the number one.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, I have some dating ideas
Okay.
that can be picked up at bit.ly/date one love. That's the number 1. And that's going to give you some ideas because sometimes we get a little bored, we get a little stale, can't think of some things. And, you know, I've got about 75 tips on there. So
Okay.
hopefully you'll find something. And if you don't, maybe it will at least give you a spark to come up with something. The thing is, in marriage, in relationships, don't put yourself in a position that you don't do. You have to continuously to nourish your relationship all the time. It's a daily thing. It's not sometimes, it's a daily thing. So
75 dating tips.
yes.
On
yes.
things that you can do. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. I love that.
Exactly.
And then let's talk about your community marriage talk.
Right, which is going to be at the Pontiac Public Library November the 2nd, every first Saturday of the month from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
Just 1 hour. Just 1 hour. Bring a cup of coffee, bring your tea, but also bring something to take some notes with. Come with a mindset of receiving some tools as well as let's help one another. There may be something that you've done or you've tried that will help us. We're talking about 7 steps to a better marriage. We are in step 5, and we're having a great time. So come and be a part of it. Come and be a part of it. You can find that information on my events page also on my website.
And that's 2, the number 2, AS1, the number 1, forever.com.
Right.
And then I see here you have the Romance on the Sea, which is the Royal Caribbean.
Right. That is our marriage enrichment cruise that is going to take place November the 16th, 2020. 4 nights, so it's still plenty of time to make payments on that. You can get more information on that at bit.ly/romance on the sea. If you have any issues or problems in getting any of this information, I've given you my email address, info@twoisoneforever.com, and you can always connect with me that way.
Can you go on the LoveLogical page right up under our live viewing and then connect the different things here?
Sure.
I'd appreciate that.
We can do
I
that.
would appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you for that.
You know, yes, because that'll put it right there.
Yeah.
So that so they'll be able to see
Real
it.
good.
Yes.
Real good. I'd like to say one more thing about
Yes.
marriage, and this is coming from an author, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and I love this quote because I find it so true. Is that marriage is perfect because a perfect God designed it. It's the 2 people in it that are not. That means we're always going to have our issues.
We're going to all have imperfections that we need to
Yes.
bring together. So
Yes.
I would like to
Yes.
thank Beverly for coming out tonight. Do not hesitate to see a certified marriage counselor, certified
Coach.
marriage coach, or to look at 2 as One Forever so you could find out about the enrichment cruises, the marriage enrichment cruises, because that's something, or vacations. And if it's nothing on here that you're interested in right now, contact Beverly, because she could set up a nice romantic vacation for you and your mate for just the 2 of you.
Yes.
So contact her for that. And Beverly, thank you so much for coming out tonight. And for my
Thank you.
LoveLogical families, as I say, biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA not required. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.